When we talk about the materials that are used to chelate, what becomes of those after we ingest a chelated mineral?
So part of what I mentioned is some may be absorbed intact. It's not quantifiable.
Sure.
Okay, that which comes off, where the iron gets absorbed without being chelated. Okay, we know that some of it comes off. Would then be absorbed as an amino acid, as if you're taking any other protein. So that's part of the nutritive value of having an essential amino acid as part of the ligand, opposed to something that the body couldn't use.
A lot of times when we take supplements, we have to, or they're better absorbed if we take them with food or with a fat. Does that apply as well with the chelate?
That's an excellent question. So again, getting back to the first question that you raised about what's important, why is it important to chelate? When you take, first of all, iron in the food source comes in the ferric form. It's actually ferric. It's a ferric iron which is oxidized.
Okay.
And it's what, when you're driving in the hills and you see red hilltops or whatever it is, that's from oxidized iron in the soil. So that's what we use, that's what we take in when we are ingesting iron from a food source. The only way that that can be absorbed is that there's an enzyme on the luminal side of the intestinal cell, the enterocyte, called ferric reductase, and that basically reduces this oxidized ferric, turns it into a ferrous, which is now soluble in this low pH environment, and that's how the iron gets absorbed. But you need that enzymatic conversion in order to absorb it. By the way, just from dietary intake, you can only really absorb about 3 to 3.5 milligrams a day. That's a dietary. Supplement, we're actually giving much bigger doses than that. And that's why when you're taking either a ferrous sulfate, fumarate, or whatever, the inhibitory phytates and polyphenols and tannins and what have you in the stomach land up complexing with it. So that's going to be with food. So a lot of people like taking their iron with food because they get less side effects, but they get much less absorbed because they're being complexed. So to get to your question now, and that is that therefore taking an iron supplement that's chelated doesn't rule out complexation with some of these inhibitors, but it dramatically reduces it. And in fact, there's several studies that have shown that when you compare a porridge, for example, that's got, let's say a corn porridge, it's got a lot of phytates, phytate-rich foodstuff, and you add to it ferrous sulfate or a ferrous bisglycinate, the amount that's absorbed from the bisglycinate is about 5-fold higher than from the ferrous sulfate, which proves that this chelation helps protect the iron from being complexed and sequestered out of this bioavailable cycle.